we're back with the third pillar of the big four pillars of great copywriting, and that is market awareness. This is where we move away from the research of your avatar and into the actual advertising and marketing to that avatar. So there are 5 levels or tiers of awareness. Each of these levels of awareness is separated by a psychological barrier. That means that one layer is different from another layer because the people in those layers are thinking in different ways from each other. It's very difficult for a person to think in both ways at once, and if not impossible. So you really don't have to consider if people are in that space. Now, the second thing is that an awareness in an individual, in a person, can shift rapidly. But awareness in a market is a strategic target. You'll see what I mean by that. But in a nutshell, it means that a person can go from one level to another very quickly. But when you're writing your advertisement, it's best to target a specific layer or level of awareness, because those people in that level of awareness are going to react to your ad at the same time, making it easier for you to articulate your point. Finally, if you shift their awareness for them or with your advertisement, then you own them at least until they leave your sphere. Meaning, if you are able to take a person from one level of awareness to another using your advertising, then until you let go of their attention with your ad, or if your ad is over, then you get to tell them whatever you need to tell them. They're going to be focused on you because you've helped them get a fundamental shift in their awareness. Now, let me explain this, and it's going to make a lot more sense when we go into each level. Level 1 is what I call most aware. Now, these are people who are aware of you as a business owner or as a proprietor or service provider or product owner. The prospect knows you, they know the product, they know that they want the product, but they just need a reason to act right now. Obviously, level 1 people are relatively easy to market to. Assuming that your market likes you, or that your product works, or that you are in a place where you can deliver right away, all your market needs when they're at level 1 is to hear from you, hear a reason to act now, or maybe give them some sort of urgency or scarcity to do something that they've been waiting to do for whatever reason. Maybe they don't have the money, maybe they did have the money, but now they need to take action. We're talking about limited time sales, we're talking about limited inventory, we're talking about, limited time to get a specific bonus, maybe even just a reminder or hitting them up in a different channel. For example, email versus a Facebook ad versus on YouTube. All of those things are applicable at level 1 because all you really have to do is get their attention and then give them a reason to act right now. There's a couple secrets that you can use at level 1. One of those is to create a pre-sale desire to increase people's level 1 awareness. What I mean by this is if you are creating a buzz around launching a product or around launching a new service and getting people genuinely excited for the launch of that service, that's pre-sale desire. And that increases level 1 awareness because not only are they aware of you and the product, but it's building a desire for them to actually get it once the product comes out. So if you have the ability to tease or to create that buzz around a product that's coming out, you absolutely do that because it's one of the greatest ways to leverage a good ad campaign is to build that pre-sale desire. Another good secret is to create a known brand. This means investing resources, time, energy, money into creating a brand that is well known in the marketplace to achieve your results, to whatever your product does, whatever your service does, because that's going to increase the number of people who are at your level 1 awareness. This means your people following you on your email list, on your social media, offline if you have a physical location, just aware of you as a service provider or as a product owner in that space. Not just aware of you in general, but aware of exactly what you do or what your product does. Those are 2 level 1 secrets. Level 2 is solution aware or solutions aware because all of us know there's never just one solution to a problem when you're an entrepreneur, when you're a business owner. But this is cognitively separated from level 1 because level 2 people, they know about the product suite. Maybe you're a SaaS company and they know that there are email SaaS companies. They might know about a general solution. So if you're a SaaS company and they might know about sending emails, but they don't know that there are companies. At this point, they know about the different general types of products or solutions that are available in the marketplace or different ways to do a specific thing, but they need to be convinced to buy now, and to buy your product. This is the next most simple market after level one. Level one tends to be very easy to market to, but level two means you can have a discussion about the products or services that are in the environment, in the target market zeitgeist, and be able to actually have really intelligent solutions or discussions with them. Now, the product, ideally, has been proven to satisfy the mass desire, meaning the thing that the person is buying, the prospect, the customer is buying, knows that that solution is going to solve their problem, which means you move past this sort of convincing stage of letting them know that you can actually solve their problem and into more of a discussion of benefits, of different types of features, but also of answering questions or objections that a person would have to buying or buying now or buying your product specifically. This also gives you the best opportunity to position your product against your competitors by understanding that you're speaking to people who are very knowledgeable, by even proving that you know what they're looking for and what you're talking about. You show that you have a better understanding of their needs and therefore probably better to buy from. Now, there's a bunch of different ways to sell to level two. Here's just a few of them, and you can take these and run with them in any type of ad that you do. You can reinforce their desire. If they're seeking a solution, they obviously want that solution, and they may have been passively or actively seeking it for a while, but your point of the ad is to reinforce the desire that they had in the first place. Even if you have kind of a boring product, they had a reason for wanting to buy in the first place. If you can tap into that, then you can get them to buy at level two. The next thing is to sharpen their understanding. So if they're seeking solutions, by educating them on all of the solutions, but also why yours is better, you can help sharpen their understanding of your product and the solution in general, and therefore give them a better reason to buy your product. By extending their use of the product, you can show how the solution they're searching for actually helps them do either more of the thing that they want to do by extending it, or by extending the range, by saying not only can they do the original solution that they wanted, but they can also do X, Y, and Z on top of that. Extending their use of the product, extending their use of the solution is one way to get their attention and get their purchase at level two. Another way is to introduce new proof or details. Now, this is something where if you have something to show or newsworthy for the environment you're in, then use it. Jump out with your new feature, jump out with the new benefit, jump out with the new research that proves why your thing is better, because that's what level two people are looking for. You can also announce a new mechanism that makes the product better. We will discuss new mechanisms in more detail in the final module of the Big Four, but this is one way to show a level two audience that your product is the better solution for what they need. Another way is that new mechanism that you've introduced can eliminate previous product limitations. So if the current solutions on the marketplace have always had certain limitations, then something you develop can show that they are eliminating that, can show that that's no longer a problem and therefore is better. Finally, you can change the image of the product to completely remove it from the competition. What this means is if they're seeking a solution and they know that they want a certain solution to their problems, then by changing the image of the product to something else from what they're expecting, but still showing it as a solution to your problem, you become a category of one. Now, it's hard to give a specific example of that, but one would be where if you had a bucket with with something that you rubbed your clothes up and down, that would be considered a washer, a clothing washer. But if you have a machine that you press a button that washes their clothes for them, you change the image of the product completely in order to remove it from competition. You simply say, this is a machine you push a button on and it cleans your clothes, instead of you having to scrub your clothes in a bucket. You change the image, even though it does the same thing and accomplishes the same solution, and that is how you can sell at level two. Lots of different ideas here. Level three is problem aware. And once again, cognitively separated from level 2, because if they are only aware of their problem, they haven't yet begun seeking solutions. So this is also what I call the first emotional need or want of a marketplace. This is where emotion has a much stronger hold than logic or reason or circumstances, things like that, where they're in less of a evaluation phase and more of a feeling phase. So the prospect either knows or recognizes immediately that they want what the product does, but they don't yet know that there is a product that will do it for them. This can mean a person who is actively suffering from being overweight, or actively suffering from having really shabby, dirty clothes, or some form or fashion like that. They know or recognize immediately that they want what the product does. They want the solution, but they don't know that there is a product that will do it for them. The prospect wants a solution to their known problem, but they're unaware that a solution exists. There's lots of things people say, but some of the common things you hear are, man, if I could only do this, or man, if only this existed, or man, if only there was something that would do this, or wouldn't it be great if this? Those types of sentences are indications that a marketplace is problem aware, because that shows you they're wishing for something that would solve a painful problem of theirs. Now, there's two types of attracting messages or ideas for level 3 audiences. Now, there's lots of different ways to iterate through these, but these are the two main ones that you can use. First, you can use a how to insert solution without problem style frame, right? So some examples here. How to sell your house without spending months on the market. You've probably seen headlines like that if you're in real estate, but that is one example of attracting a level 3 person, because you're talking about the solution, which is selling your house, without spending months on the market, which is the problem they're currently dealing with. Either they're trying to sell their house, or they're worried about listing it because it'll just sit there on the market and they have to keep it clean every day in case someone drops by. Other way is to be more specific. Like if you know your target market is in Encinitas, you can be very clear and say how to sell your Encinitas single family home. By getting more specific and using the target market that you've defined, you immediately become more attractive to people at level 3, because they think that you have a solution specifically for them. The other way to do this is to call out a problem and then tease the solution. So you're leading with the problem in this. What do you say? Selling your house in Encinitas? That's their problem, right? They're trying to do this. Here's how to close a deal in 21 days above market price. There's your tease. They want that. That's the thing they want. Or, are you paying more than 15% in taxes? Here's how to pay less than 10% and get 3 years of overpayments back today. Now, these are just examples of where you're calling out the problem. Are you paying more in taxes? Are you selling your house in Encinitas? Are you overweight? Are you trying to lose weight before your wedding? Are you trying to get a date? Are you trying to find the love of your life? All these kinds of things are calling out the problem that they're dealing with and then teasing a solution. So those are the options for attracting level 3 people with your advertising. Level 4 is even further above the problem-aware people. Again, another cognitive barrier here. These are people who are need aware. So the prospect has a need and will recognize it immediately if shown to them, but they don't realize that there's a connection between the fulfillment of the need and your product. So there's a couple different ways to approach this one. This is a little more difficult because it's more ephemeral than a person who's dealing with an active problem, right? But you can either agitate the pain that this need is causing. If they're overweight, then obviously there are pains associated with being overweight. If they need to sell their home for some reason, there's pains associated with those homes. This is where agitating the pain is most effective, because you move them from this sort of passive, need awareness, desire awareness, into an active state of dealing with a pain. Another way to do that is to confirm a suspicion. So if your target market is currently suspicious or is aware that there's interest around something that they currently have, then you can just confirm that with your headline by saying, like, I'll bet you think it's impossible to sell your home in Encinitas. Well, it is. Or I'll bet you think that it's impossible to lose 50 pounds over 40. Well, it is, unless, something like that, where you're confirming a suspicion of theirs, because that then leads them in with more attention. Another way is to remove a perceived limitation. Lots of marketplaces don't take action or don't move forward with seeking a solution because they think that there's a limit a limitation holding them back. They think either it's financial or it's time or it's location or something. Maybe somebody wants to go to the gym, but they know, quote unquote, that there's no gym around them for 10 miles. But when you show up in their newsfeed on Facebook or in their local paper and say, hey, new location opening for a gym, you've now removed a perceived limitation in their mind. That's just one example. Another way is to introduce new information. This is similar to level 2, where you are introducing new proof, but instead you're introducing new information they wouldn't have had before. You're educating them. You're saying this new discovery, this new development, this new thing is introducing a new piece of information into their life, which not only grabs their attention, but also gives them a new reason to take action. So, some examples. A new baby means a new bedroom, one that you don't have yet. This being a type of headline that would call out to someone who is aware that they might need a new house, but is now confronted with the fact that because they're getting a new baby, they need a new bedroom. The other thing is taxes are your single biggest expense unless you do this. This is confirming a suspicion, but then providing some sort of angle out of it. There's lots of different ways to do this, lots of different ways to agitate the pain and confirm a suspicion, et cetera, et cetera. But by going after a desire-aware audience, you're reaching a much larger audience, but it does take a little more finesse on the ad side to make sure that message is on point. Level 5 is the top most aware level. They're completely unaware, but they are still technically in the market for your thing. These are the people who may sell a home in the next year in Encinitas. These are the people who technically are 50 pounds overweight, but don't really care that they are. So they have a physical or mental attribute that makes them a prospect, but they don't know or won't acknowledge their desire or need. Right? This is obviously the most difficult prospect to reach because they don't have an active or passive reason to be in the marketplace or be for your product. However, this is usually also the largest marketplace, the one where you could go out and reach the most people if you had a message that really resonated with them. So by understanding that they're either jaded and they pulled themselves out of the market, or they're inactive because they don't really care, maybe they used to be something and now they are not, that's something to consider. But there's some strategies still at this level. It doesn't mean you should avoid it. Some of the strategies to approach level 5 is to first eliminate the unnecessary and then focus on the things that actually matter. So let's eliminate the unnecessary. You don't need a price. No pricing in the headline because it's irrelevant to the unaware person. They don't care about the price if they don't care about the product or the solution. Also, your name or your logo or your anything really, all of that is irrelevant because they don't care about your brand. They're not level 1 aware. They don't care about solutions. They're not level 2 aware. So your name doesn't matter. And also, you don't even need performance or proof because you haven't gotten them to the point of even caring about the solution, much less why yours is the best or what type of performance they're going to get from their thing. So eliminate all of those things that a lot of people love to put in the ad and then focus on some things that do matter. You need to focus on the market. The market is where you're going to reach level 5 the most. You're going to be able to combine your knowledge of the target market with something that is more relevant to them than simply features or benefits or solutions or new mechanisms, right? So by broadening beyond price, beyond performance, beyond product, you capture the entire demographic through sheer emotion. If this sounds hard, it's because it is, but it's also very powerful if you can do it, especially if you're looking to scale your business. So one of the secrets that I would recommend is to combine this awareness of level 5 with something you'll learn in the next module, which is sophistication level 5, and then combine that with a little bit of celebrity. So a little bit of celebrity, a little bit of authority goes a long way, whether it's you or a sponsor or endorsement or whatever. But by combining these 3 aspects, you end up creating a new blue ocean for your company, which if you've never heard the phrase before, a blue ocean is where a marketplace is entirely untapped by competition and is ripe for you to move into and gain all the benefits from having a brand new blue ocean. So here's how to do that. One is you can call the market together. This is by calling out a specific type of person. The better aware you are of them and their primal desires, which we've already discussed, the easier it will be to write some sort of identification headline for them. So this could be something as simple as calling all Encinitas homeowners. Or it could be something as complex as saying what an old ad did to call out ambitious people. It said, are you courageous enough to earn $500,000 a year? That's when $500,000 was a lot. That was back in the 40s. But point being, by calling the market together, identification wise, you're capturing their attention at this level of awareness. The next way to do that is by echoing an emotion. Usually this is some sort of dissatisfaction. If they are unhappy with their current circumstance for some reason, maybe the general market has always not liked the thing, or now they're jaded because of a certain reason, you can echo that in the headline depending on where you're at. So if maybe it's a dissatisfaction with home prices, like selling your home in Encinitas and home prices are through the roof, it's impossible to buy, or something like that, a generalized dissatisfaction or emotion. Now, once you've done that, you call the market together, and then you've echoed an emotion in some way, you need to sell the rest of the ad. You need to sell them on reading the rest of your advertisement, because what you're going to do is convince them in no uncertain terms that they do have a desire for something, but they have problems with satisfying that desire, and that your solutions are probably the best solutions to satisfy that problem. Next thing you do is get them to identify with the headline. Like I said, identification headline, but that's by applying proof and applying the knowledge you have of the target market, applying your knowledge of their primals, because you're showing them that you know them and therefore probably have a solution for them. Then grow their awareness of the problem and desire. Let them realize there's a solution at hand, and then focus on the action of getting into your product by fulfilling that desire and solution. Now, this is a really quick way to do it. If you want to pause the video and write down this small template, you can. But keep in mind that this is one of the more difficult types of ads to write and markets to write to. So if you don't get it right away, or if you don't want to tackle this right away, that's absolutely understandable. But this is the best way to do that. Here's some examples for level 5. You can give words to a hidden desire. Whatever your hidden primal desire or core need is with that marketplace that you found out, you can give words to that. You can also exploit a hidden fear using your knowledge of their primal fears. You can lead in with an unacceptable problem by starting with a universally accepted image, which means you're showing them something that they accept and believe in, they identify with using your target market research, but then you lead them into an unacceptable problem with that identity. If you can key in on that identity and understand that there are unacceptable problems associated with that, this would be a great thing to use. Another way is to project a hidden desire, which cannot be bluntly put into words. So if they want something, they really want something, but they can't articulate it, or they could never say it out loud. Like, I want to lose 50 pounds of fat, or I want to look better than all my friends, or something like that. You can project that hidden desire by showing it, by telling a story about it, by showing that one of your testimonials achieved something that could be part of their hidden desire. Another way to do it is to use a common resentment or unvoiced protest to capture far greater market than the direct statement of the solution would produce. So certain types of people, like for example, using Donald Trump in his political campaign as an example, there are resentments and unvoiced protests, probably because they feel unheard. They feel unable to articulate what is going wrong with their lives. But you can't just say that they are, that the solution to that is one thing or another, because they haven't even been able to articulate the problem that they're unhappy with. So instead, you use the articulation of the resentment or of the unvoiced protest in order to capture more of their interest. Rather than just laying out a plan, you instead show that you understand what they're trying to say by saying that, by showing them the resentment or showing the unvoiced protest in that example. Another way to do it is by projecting an ultimate triumph that the prospect will identify with. This is something where you're showing them the promised land. You're showing them that they can achieve a thing that they want to achieve at some point. This is obviously a big gamble. You have to pick the thing that will be a true ultimate triumph for them. But if someone can identify with your outcome, then you can pretty much sell them the rest of the ad by saying you'll achieve that outcome. And then there's another, projecting the result of a problem in such a way that it will be identified with by people who would reject a direct statement of the problem itself. So you can't tell someone that they're overweight and they look like crap because they're going to reject a direct statement of the problem. But by projecting the result of a problem, which is he fell through the chair at the family picnic and everybody saw him do it because of his weight, that's projecting the result of a problem rather than, saying it directly. That's one way to tell that story. Now, finally, projecting the result of an accomplishment to attract people who would be frightened away by the work implied to achieve it. This is, for a lot of businesses, the right way to go about things because most people want a certain result or get a certain accomplishment, but are unaware of and also kind of afraid of the amount of work that it's going to take to achieve that result. So by talking about the results instead of the work implied, then you're able to get people interested enough to take action, take that first step, and then get them on the path of moving towards the outcome rather than scaring them away with the idea that they have to work really hard to get it in the first place. As you can probably tell, these examples require a very clear understanding of all of the big four. So if it feels overwhelming, once again, don't jump too far into this. If it feels overwhelming, you can stick with some of the other levels of awareness because it's much easier to communicate with them in an advertisement. But if you find yourself maxed out or if you find yourself in a hyper competitive marketplace, it's something to consider going at level 5.